So friends, we are going to deal with the second part of this chapter, population, that is the problems or the causes of rapid growth of population. Now, India's population is not only large is in absolute size, but it is also growing at an alarming pace. It's not only large, but it's also growing very much. The population growth, instead of being an asset, has become one of the most important constraints of Indian development. Generally, population becomes an asset because more the people you have, more the development process, more labor to work, more brains to think. So in that sense, it's an asset. But for India, it's actually becoming a restraint for our economic development. The country is confronted today with what is appropriately described as the problem of population explosion. So in India, today we have the problem of population explosion. Broadly speaking, there are three causes of an increase in the population of a country. So there are basically there are three causes of an increase in the population of the country. First of all, a high birth rate. Now why do population increase? Because of a high birth rate. Second, relatively lower death rate. Death rate has come down. And thirdly, immigration. Immigration means people are coming from other countries to the country. So that is immigration. India's population has not increased much due to immigration. Immigration is only a very small reason for the rise in population. Because of immigration, only very less population has increased, but the other reasons are very much high. The causes of high birth rate. Now, why do the birth rate increase in India? Population increase, yeah. There are many economic and non-economic factors. First of all, universal marriage. Marriage is both a religious and a social necessity in India. The custom of arranged marriage, under which the parents feel that marrying their daughter is a social obligation, results in near universality of marriage. Over 77% of total female population in the reproductive age group 15 to 19 get married in India, and naturally the growth population will be higher. So automatically the parents feel that the girl should get married, and so they force her into marriage at the age of 15, 16, 17. So at the entire reproductive age from 14 to 15 to 49 they are married. But if there is no force from the parents to marry, automatically girls will get married only after they want to get married, maybe by the age of 25, 28, 30. So the reproductive ages or periods will be less when they have children. So in that sense, this universality of marriage becomes one of the important causes for the higher rate of population growth. Second is early marriage, as we told. First was universality of marriage, now is the early marriage. At the age of 15, 16 they get married. Apart from the near universality of marriage, the relatively lower age at marriage in the country is also believed to be responsible for the high fertility. The numbers are over there. This increase the childbearing period of women. The estimation has shown that women married below 18 years, the average number of children born alive was 6. This figure showed a decline for women marrying between 18 to 20 years of age to 5, and further decline to 4 for women married at the age of 20 plus above. So, if you get married after 20 years, the number of children that are born are less compared to when you get married below 20 years. Yeah. Third is the climate. Yes, it's an important reason for increasing the puberty. India is a tropical climate. The girls attain puberty and boys attain maturity quite early in their life. Because of the climate, they attain maturity early in their life. This accounts for reproduction at a very early age. So since they attain puberty at a very early age, they get married early. Fourth, poverty. Poverty and with its associated factors such as poor diet, illiteracy, ill health, etc. keep the birth rate high. In a lower income family, the benefits of having an additional child to the family generally exceed the cost of his upbringing. The poor have no other economic asset than their own labor, and more the number of earners in the family, more the amount of family earnings. Another aspect of poverty is high infant mortality rate among the poor. This means that survival rate is very low. In order to ensure that some children do survive, people tend to have large number of children. Moreover, the psychological effect of chronic poverty is to make sex important enough to compensate emotionally for the shrunken nutritional appetite. In this way, poverty causes high birth rate. So, over here, there are three reasons that are being put forward as to how poverty can affect the birth rate. First of all, as you are poor, you feel that if you have more people working at home, instead of one or two or three, if you have five people working from home, and five people will be the bread earners, five people will have do daily wages and bring home money so that you will have something to eat. So that is one of the reason why the population increases at a poor house. Second is, um, out of five, if five are born, not all five succeed in living up to the age of 10 or 12 or 15. Before that, they die. So we feel like, okay, let's try for 10 or 15 children, only then we'll get uh, 5 to 6 children who are alive. So that is a mentality which keeps the birth rate high. And the third one is, since they don't, as poor, they have less lack of nutrition, less appetite, their life is also emotionally not that happy. So the only thing that gives them happiness and relaxation is sex. So they want to get involved in sex in order to forget all the other emotional pains that they have because of poverty. So that is how poverty can play a very important role. Third is illiteracy and ignorance. Now, on account of widespread illiteracy, there is a large ignorance of the biology of reproduction, need for birth control, and the device of birth control among the masses. Again, illiteracy breeds superstitions, and hence illiterates are afraid of using any birth control devices. So that is how illiteracy, they don't know what is the importance of child birth control, etc., and all the measures that needs to be taken in order to avoid child growth, child birth rate. Next is religious and social attitudes. Most Indians, on account of their religious and social superstitions, desire to have children, having no regard for the economic condition. Because the society and the culture tells them you should have children, if you should not shun from having children. Among Hindus, for instance, believe that without at least one son, it's not possible to get deliverance from the cycle of birth and rebirth. Sanction against childless women further underline the necessity of children. Again, it is taken for granted that every young man and woman must marry. So, all these things, the religion teaches them that they should have children. The more the children, it's the blessing of God. So, in that way, also, from the sociological factors, religious and sociological attitudes, the population increases. Predominance of agriculture. In agrarian society, children have never been considered an economic burden. During the peak of productive activities like harvesting, weeding, and sowing times, children labor was required in agriculture. Thus, there seemed to be an economic rationale for relatively bigger family. So, for agricultural family, children are never considered a burden because they require labor, manual labor, uh, when they have their normal weeding, harvesting process going on. So, more the children, more will be the people working for the family field. So, that is what they think about in agriculture. Joint family system. The economic burden of the members is carried by the head or the economic or the earning member of the family. This joint family system induces young couple to have children, though they may not be in a position to support them. So, if you have a joint family, the head of the family supports the family's economic conditions. So, you will not take tension. All the families who are involved in joint family don't have a tension of bringing up the children. They are brought up commonly in the family. So, they go on for having more children. Lack of birth control. Until recently, there have been complete absence of conscious family planning in India. Use of contraceptives had been practically unknown to majority of married people. Moreover, there was also indifference towards family planning due to various social and economic factors. So the family planning measures were not correctly utilized. So that is another problem. So slow urbanization and predominance of villages. The urbanization process was slow. People were not moving to the villages, and the villages population were very high. In India, due to slow speed of industrialization, Urbanization has also been slow. This has failed to generate social forces, which usually bring down the birth. If you are in an urban area, automatically the population will come down because of the pressure of the urban culture. But in village, the culture is of having high, great, big children or huge, large number of children. So this cultural changes also bring about an increase in the birth rate. To conclude, none of the above mentioned factors contribute to the high birth rate of India are of permanent nature. With the expansion of industrialization, education, it is hoped that the idea of family planning will have greater appeal to the people and they will certainly develop a preference for a smaller family. So it's hoped that in the coming years maybe this will come down. Next one, causes of low death rate in India. As earlier we told, what are the causes of low death rate in India? Let's go through the figures first. A noteworthy feature regarding death rate in India is that with the passage of time, death rate has been falling rapidly. Now, this is a positive note in that sense. The death rate has come down, but on the other hand, the population rate is increasing. So, in that sense, it's a negative news. For instance, it was 42.6 per thousand during 1901, came down to 7.1 in 2011. So only that much people are dying. This steep fall in death rate is a result of provision of better diet, pure drinking water, improved hospital facilities, better sanitation, and the control of several epidemics and other diseases which took a heavy toll of human life. Epidemics like plague, cholera, smallpox have been by and large eradicated. The availability and use of antibiotics and other life-saving medicines have drastically reduced the death resulting from many dreadful and chronic diseases. Floods, droughts, and other natural calamities even nowadays cast a dark shadow on the country, but they are no longer as horrible as they used to be. The improvement in the situation has been caused by several factors such as implementation of the schemes of agricultural development, streamlining of relief administration, extension of transport and communication facilities, import of food grains, etc. So all these have played a very important role in bringing down the death rate of the country. Another important factor contributing to low death rate is the declining infant mortality due to the provisions of better maternity and postnatal care and spread of awareness among the people. The infant mortality which stood at 218 per thousand. The infant death rate, first we saw that death rate has come down because of better education, better medical facilities, and pure drinking water, better diet. This has come down. Next is important, infant mortality rate has come down because of the awareness among the people regarding the care for small children. Thus, a relatively high birth rate and relatively and rapidly declined death rate are mainly responsible for India's rapid population growth. Next point we deal with is effects of population growth on Indian economy. This population has increased so much. What are their impacts on the Indian economy? The population in India is not only large in size but also growing at an alarming rate. The rapid increase in population is also a threat to the nation's development as it has a decisive bearing on the achievement of economic, social, political, cultural and educational objectives set forth in the overall development plans. The impact of rising population are as shown below. First, population growth and per capita income. 1950-51 and 2018-19 net national income NNI at factor cost at 2004-5 prices rose by 1,766%, 1.69%, but on account of rising population per capita, NNI rose by only 450% in 2012-13. So the NNI growth rate has come down. So when the population is up, the per capita income has come down. In other words, during this period, the average growth rate of national income works out to be 5.4% and of per capita income to only 2.4%. The growth in per capita income is an index
of economic growth, and as such population growth has acted as a factor in retarding economic development. So economic development has come down because of the population growth. Population and food supply. Automatically when there is higher population, there will be greater pressure on food requirements. So the food supply will also come down because the pressure on the population, the pressure on the food supply is very high because of the increased population. Population and the burden of unproductive consumers. Now when there are huge amount of people living in an area, automatically the unproductive consumer, that means they are consuming, for example they are consuming food grains, they are consuming the other facilities, but they are unproductive, they don't give back to the society, or they don't take part in the production. For example, people are not dying after 70, they are living, they are consuming the utilities and the production units. They are commodities they are consuming, but they are not taking part in the production activity. In that sense, they are unproductive consumers. So the number of unproductive consumers increase a lot because of the population growth. The numbers are there in front of us. Population and unemployment. Automatically when population increases, if the government is not able to increase the employment opportunities as the increase of population, then population will automatically have a very negative impact on the employment opportunities in the country. More the people, population, more will be the number of unemployed people in the country. Population and capital formation. The rapidly growing population makes increasing demands on resources for unproductive purpose, and this hinders capital accumulation. The present rate of growth of population in India is 1.9% per annum. It is said that a part of capital formation investment normally goes in maintaining the existing standard of living for the additional population. Just to maintain a constant per capita real income, national income must rise at a rate of 1.9% per annum. So that is about the population and the capital formation. Thus, therefore, for a given investment, large proportion is needed to be devoted to the production of essential consumer goods at the expense of investment goods industry, thereby still slowing the potential capital growth. That means the capital that we are having, we are still putting them for fulfilling the primary commodities, even for essential consumer goods, because we have to fulfill the consumer good necessities of the, for example, if you have a capital money, first you will try to spend it for food only, not for higher machineries. So in order to satisfy the people of the country, so much population of the country, we are still putting money into very basic factors, very basic elements, and we have no, there is no capital left to be put in for higher machineries or higher development processes. Population growth and the burden of social overhead capitals. Increasing population needs heavy expenditure on education, health, transport, housing, etc. There is a heavy demand for such services as increasing population contains more of child population. Such expenditure creates productive labor in the long run, but puts additional financial burden on the already overstrained financial resources. So a burden is being created because the main focus are children. The number of people who are those who are in the non-working categories are more, and for them housing problems or housing problem has become more acute, particularly in urban areas due to population growth. Consequently, people are forced to live in congested area, resulting in various health hazards. Seventh one, population and declining land man ratio. Yeah, now because of heavy population, the number of land for that can be allotted for one person is coming down. The land man ratio is very tight as because of increasing pressure of population on land, which is already high, is further increasing because of a consequence of population. The pressure of the people living on land is increasing because of the population growth. Mostly in the urban and semi-urban areas, it's very high. Population and ecological degradation. The rapid growth of population in India has somewhat upset the ecological balance also. There is gradual shrinkage of area covered by forest as also open land. The number of forests have come down because people want place to stay. They cut down the forest and make houses. Also, open land has also come down. They make buildings, they make factories, they make houses for the people to stay. Residence has to be increased. So the pressure in that sense is ecological degradation has also happened because of population. Thus, due to rapid growth of population in India, India's fruits of development could not be shared by all sections of the society. Population explosion is the biggest roadblock in the path of economic progress. We can conclude with the words of M.C. Chagla, former Union Education Minister. If population is not checked, our progress would be like a writing on sand, with the waves of population growth washing away all we have written. So only if the population is controlled, we can focus more on economic development. So those are the 8 important points which we had dealt with the effects of population growth on Indian economy. Okay. Now we move on to the next title, family welfare programs. Now, family planning, we know how to control childbirth, that is family planning. We mean planned parenthood. It is a conscious limitation of children within the economic limits of the family. Family planning is having children by choice rather than by chance. That means the couples are wanting the children rather than by chance it happened. Rather than by chance, it is by choice. Now, aims and target. The basic aim of the program is to bring about a substantial reduction in the birth rate. The main aim of family planning program is to bring down the birth rate. To achieve this objective, the government wanted adoption of family planning as a way of life, acceptance of social family norms as the ideal size, personal knowledge of family planning methods by all young married couples, and fourth, ready availability of supplies and services. Now, the government has adopted following measures in the respect. Organization. The Central Family Planning Commission has been set up to advise the government on family planning at the national level. The programs are implemented by the state government with full financial assistance from the central government. A number of family planning centers have been set up. Now, these are from the organizational level. What is the country doing with that? So, it has a National Family Planning Commission set up. This commission actually advises the central government, and with the help of the state governments, it is implemented in the states with finance coming from the central government. They function for the purpose of birth control, propaganda, distribution of contraceptives and medicines, provisions of guidance and other services. Government hospitals, public health agencies and child welfare centers also give advice and services with respect to family planning in our country. So, they give. This focus is given by them. Motivation. The government has adopted a motivated program to spread the knowledge of family planning and make people realize the need for small families. So, the people are motivated from the part of the government. All mass media, newspaper, radios, films, etc. are used to motivate the people to adopt planning. So, family planning is being promoted. The two aspects of the motivation program are 2 children norm. So, they put on we have 2, maybe something of that slogan, and spacing. That is maintaining sufficient gap between 2 children. This program is more rural oriented. Training. Successful implementation of family planning requires qualified doctors, nurses, midwives and other personnel. Training is essential part of the program. A number of training institutes have been set up by the government to provide training to those engaged in implementation of the program. We have a number of doctors, nurses, midwives, etc. working or being trained from the part of the government in order to implement this family planning program? Research. The government encourages research in various aspects of family planning. The objective is to achieve the maximum results within the financial and physical resources allocated to the program. A number of research centers in the field of demography, reproductive biology, fertility control have been set up. They also aim at the development of cheap and effective birth control devices. So, the researches are also happening as to how to control the birth rate, of the children. No, that is also being researched. Incentives. Acceptance of family planning by poor people depends on monetary incentives. The government gives a compensation of rupees 250 for sterilization if performed with 2 children. If rupees 200 if performed with 3 children, and 100 if performed with 4 or more children. So they give compensation to the people. If you have 2 children and you first sterilize, it means you are cutting off your reproductive capacity, that is sterilization. You become sterile. It's not cutting off the genital organs, but it's about making yourself sterile. So in that sense, if you are made sterile, that means then you cannot have a child growth, this being happening. So if you are made sterile, this is going to happen. So if you are doing with 2 children, you get 250 rupees. With 3 children, you get 200 rupees. With 4 children, you get 100 rupees for becoming sterile. The maternity and child health program. There is a relationship between high birth rate and the high infant mortality. Family planning can be succeeded only if child survive rate is increased. Poor people prefer to have more children to avoid risk of infant mortality. For the adoption of 2 children norm by them, infant mortality should be sufficiently reduced, because as we told about the reasons for high birth rate, we saw that they tend to want more children because they feel that some of the children will die in the gradual course. Now, if the government is able to bring down the infant mortality rate, automatically they will feel that okay, fine, 2 children are there, they will live. We need not have more children. So in that sense, child health program is also important. 90 district program. The government has identified 90 districts in 4 states, Bihar, MP, Rajasthan and UP, where the birth rate is more than 40 per thousand. They are known as BIMARU states, and intensive efforts are made for the effective implementation of family planning in these districts. Here we take a small gap. Then we have something called as universal. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, then we have something called as the universal immunization program. This program was launched to reduce the infant and maternal mortality by giving protection against tuberculosis, diphtheria, tetanus, polio, measles, etc. So all this kind of vaccination program were given in order to bring down the infant mortality rate. So that is universal immunization program. Then we have the health and nutrition, various schemes being implemented by the government of India. Housing facilities, better housing facilities were given for the poor people so that they remain safe and bring up their quality of living. And there are some other measures which the government of India has adopted. Other measures like every year July 11 is declared as World Population Day to spread the message of family planning. Legal abortion facilities for safe management of unwanted pregnancies have been provided. Voluntary agencies are encouraged to participate in implementation of family planning. In order to check female feticide, the Prenatal Diagnostic Techniques Act was passed. This act strictly prohibits determination and disclosure of sex of the fetus. The government is organizing sterilization camps in as many places as possible. The service of NGOs have also been utilized for this purpose. In order to fulfill the need for a comprehensive package of services for women in pregnancy and childbirth, Janani Suraksha Yojana have been introduced. The scheme would facilitate the poor woman to receive essential emergency obstetric care and health services in the health centers. Special efforts are also being made to reach selected age groups, backward areas, and urban slums. Arrangements are also made to provide various contraceptives at cheaper rates or free of cost. Medical facilities have been expanded, and efforts are made to set up family planning sections in most of the hospitals and set up several mobile clinics to provide a variety of services. Then on the list we have efforts are also being made to ensure proper linkages with all government departments and ministries to take family planning program as a serious one. So these are the steps that are being proposed by the government or the initiatives taken by the government in order to bring down the population rate. The population growth has to be brought down. The service of local leadership, private doctors also sought. The progress of family planning program in our country can be shown by a number of indicators given below. The number of sterilization has increased significantly. The couple protection rate has increased. The mean age of average has increased. The infant mortality rate has declined. The birth rate, which was 40, has become 21.8. That means a growth this is there. But death rate has witnessed a remarkable decline and was 7.1% in 2011. The average annual growth of population was 2.11 and it's come down to 1.63% at the present. You should remember that in spite of the above progress, family planning cannot be successful without the eradication of poverty. The two programs should go together. Hence, family planning should be integrated with economic planning. So, only if both of them go together, we can bring about economic development in the country. Next, we move on to the topic National Population Policy 2000. The National Population Policy adopted on Feb 15, 2000 has outlined immediate, medium and long-term objectives. The immediate objective is to meet needs of contraception, health infrastructure and health personnel and to provide integrated services for basic reproductive and child health care. The medium-term objectives in to lower down the total fertility rates to the replacement level by 2000. Then long-term objective is to achieve stable population by 2045. In this broad framework, National Population Policy 2000 aims at the following: reduce maternal mortality ratio, reduce infant mortality rate, achieve universal immunization of children against all vaccine preventive diseases, achieve universal access to information, counseling and services for fertility regularization, promote delayed marriages of girls not earlier than the age of 18 and preferably after 20 years of age, prevent and control communicable diseases, promote vigorously the small family norm to achieve replacement levels to total fertility rates, bring about convergence in implementation of related social sector programs to make family welfare a people-centered program. So all these things are there with terms of the national population policy. Now, in pursuance of National Population Policy 2000, a National Commission on Population headed by the Prime Minister has been set up. The Commission will review the implementation of National Population Policy from time to time. State level commissions on population have also been set up with the objective of ensuring the implementation of the population policy. The action plan for implementation includes the following: efforts to make school education up to the age of 14 free and compulsory. So this is the action plan. So school education till the age of 14 is free and compulsory, and reduce the dropouts at primary and secondary school levels to below 20% for both boys and girls. Compulsory registration of birth, death, marriage and pregnancy. Integration of Indian medical systems in the provision of reproductive and child health services. Rewards for panchayats and Zilla Parishads for promoting small family norms. Health insurance covers rupees of 5,000 for couples below poverty line. with two living children who undergo sterilization, funds and soft loans for providing ambulance service in rural areas, strengthening abortion facilities, strict enforcement of Child Marriage Restraint Act and prenatal diagnostic techniques, setting up of a national population stabilization fund to support projects, schemes and initiatives, utilizing self-help groups at panchayat village levels to interact with healthcare workers. So the national NNP thus affirms the commitment of the government towards voluntary and informed choice and consent of citizen while availing reproductive health care services and continuation of the target free approach in administering family planning services. So these approaches have been taken by the government in order to bring down the population rate by National Population Policy 2000. All these things are planned by the government. Now, suggestions for a sound population policy. These are the suggestions. The present population problem in India can be controlled by following the threefold measures. First of all, economic measures. Now, what are the economic measures? Provision of a credible society, security. The most important single essential condition for popularizing small family norm is the provision of a credible security system. The state security should enable the married people, especially in the old age, to believe that children are not indispensable for surviving or the primary source of old age security. So people generally think that when they become old, their children should look after them. So they have more children. So the state government should, or the central government should make policies that at the old age the state would take care of them. If that thought has come, might not have more children coming out, or they may not think of having more children in their life. Expansion of industrial sectors. The demographic history of the developed country shows that the family size of the people employed engaged in the industrial sector is smaller than that of the people who are engaged in agricultural sector. So the people in the industrial sector are less. So industrial growth is very important for bringing down the population or bringing down the size of the family. Creation of employment opportunities in urban areas. This leads to migration of rural people to urban areas. However, the problem of housing and cost of upbringing of children will reduce them to have, because in the rural areas the space provided is less for people, and also the cost of living is high, and so they would want less number of children. They would not prefer a bigger family while staying in the rural area. So more employment opportunity should be created in the urban areas. Equitable distribution of income and removal of poverty. If poverty is removed automatically, people will not have more children, because poverty is one of the most important reasons why people want to have more children. If that is removed, eradicated, automatically the size of the family would come down. Now, these are the economic measures. The 4 economic measures were there. Second point is social measures. First is education. You have to educate people about the importance of having small family and the negative points of population growth. Improving the status of women. The tendency to treat a male child as superior to female will reduce people to have large families. If such attitudes are given, induce people. If such attitudes are given up, it will help having small families. Educated women. So women are considered lower than men. So the pains of birth is taken up by the woman. So if a woman has power or more control or equal control, if she will automatically tell a no to any kind of she would be open enough to tell a no to childbirth. So if that is happening, automatically this will come down. So improving the status of women. Raising the minimum age of marriage. So minimum age of marriage was kept now 18. Now I think so the government is planning to make it 21 for women also, girls also. So raising the minimum age of marriage, or any other marriages outside this is legal and they will be punished. Now that was the social norms. Now third is a family planning program. Family planning is an instrument of social transformation. It implies having children by choice and not by chance, as we studied over there. Now what are the programs? Public information program. The information has to be spread via videos, cinemas, movies, advertisements, etc., to the people regarding the importance of family planning. Incentives and disincentives. The government has to give various incentives, that means maybe money incentive, cash incentives, or other incentives. Maybe a health insurance fund for those family having less than 2 children, or this sterilization which we saw. Such kind of incentives have to be given, and these incentives, if they have more children, what are the negative impacts that they will be going to have? So these incentives should also be taken care of. Family planning centers and researches. So the number of people who are researching on the family planning measures have to increase. How to bring down the fertility rate or birth control rate have to be brought down. All this have to be researched, the demography. Reduction in infant mortality, of course, it's very important. Provision of variety of recreational facilities. As we told, the poor people don't have any recreation facilities, or emotional happiness is not achieved. So sex is the only way for achieving this recreation and also emotional happiness. When people are provided with various recreation facilities, procreation will stop being the main recreation. So procreation was considered as the main recreation for the poor people. This will reduce the size of the family. Then we have some questions, which of course I hope you can go through. It's as easy and as direct as that. Yeah, so by this we finished a simple chapter. It's on population. Many of these factors are known to each and every one of us. So please go through, and if you have doubts, please ask.